So the way that Marvel have unveiled the new Thunderbolts title is one of the most unique movie marketing moments in quite a while. If you haven't seen the movie, mild spoiler warning, but Marvel themselves have already kind of spoiled it already. But essentially, only 3 days after the movie came out, they unveiled a new billboard in LA with the new title, The New Avengers. Now, for 99% of movies, unveiling a new title on a new poster for a film 3 days after it's just come out would be insane. But Thunderbolts is one of maybe the only movies that could do this and actually have it work. And so to explain why this is so weird and why it's been so effective, we need to talk about the importance of titles. I think titles are the smallest individual element of a film that can have the biggest outsized impact on the box office. You could spend millions and millions of dollars making a movie, getting a great cast, great locations, great trailer, but if you have a terrible title, that's gonna hurt the box office. Obviously, a great title isn't going to save a terrible movie, but a bad title could really hurt a good one. The Shawshank Redemption is an example of a great movie that everybody loves, but it was a box office bomb when it came out, partly because the title isn't one that gets people rushing to the cinema. Back to the Future is an example of a movie with a great title, it's iconic, everybody loves it, but one of the executives wanted to call it Spaceman from Pluto. Just based on title alone, I know which movie I would rather go and see. So titles are very important, and when you pick a title for your movie, like Thunderbolts, it's pretty important that you stick to it. Now you could reasonably change the title of any movie during production, but once you start doing posters and trailers and other promotional material, it's pretty important that that stays consistent, because the whole point of promotional material is just to make people aware that a movie exists. If you're to change the title of the movie halfway through the press tour or when the movie's already out, that could be really confusing to audiences. Now you might be thinking, sure, there are examples of movies getting retitled after they've come out. Edge of Tomorrow is the famous example. It got retitled to Live, Die, Repeat on Blu-ray. Or Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which got retitled to just Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. But those were reactive title changes. They were films that underperformed at the box office, and the marketing already wasn't getting people to see the film. And so to try and fix that problem, they changed the title. But even with that, those are rare examples. There are basically no examples of movies where they decided to change the title after the fact because of a creative decision. Because films are a commercial enterprise, they have to make money. And so unless your film is bombing, changing your title would be really confusing for audiences. Like, could you imagine if they decided to rename Titanic in the middle of its cinema release to just like A Night on a Ship? It would just be crazy. You just wouldn't do it. And so that's what makes the unveiling of a new title for Thunderbolts so strange, because usually it's reactive and a sign of desperation. But for Thunderbolts, it was planned, but while they're promoting it, they're also still keeping the original title. Whenever this comes out on Blu-ray and on streaming, this is still going to be called Thunderbolts. But they're still pushing posters, billboards, a trailer that's using the title The New Avengers. For any other film, that would be crazy. It would undermine the previous marketing and it would confuse audiences. But for Thunderbolts, it actually works, and it's because they've laid so much groundwork for it. For one, whenever they initially revealed the title of Thunderbolts, they added an asterisk to the end of it. So that was a way of getting people talking about the movie, but it also created the implication that there's something else underneath that. Then there's the fact at this point we've had so many big superhero teams on screen that culturally we're just more aware that different groups of heroes can team up under different names. And so when they actually came to unveil the new title, they were actually really smart about it. Instead of designing a whole new poster and a whole new layout, they just kept exactly the same Thunderbolts poster as before, and then just had a whole rip through it where the title was to show the new one. So visually it's still pretty clear that this is the same movie that you've seen the promotional material for already, but we're just revealing the new twist to it. And it's been really smart, because all the promotional material is usually pushing towards the opening weekend of a film. That's usually the best 3 days of a film's box office, and it's the most important signifier of how the film is going to do in the long run. But the title reveal gets the movie a whole new boost of coverage, discussion, and gets people who maybe weren't interested in the Thunderbolts interested in seeing an Avengers movie. Because people understand that Avengers movies are the events movies, and with the new Avengers, it's a signal that maybe this is going to set up the future for the MCU to come. Now there is part of this rollout that is kind of frustrating. I was very lucky that I got to see the film on the opening weekend, so the reveal that this was the new Avengers was a genuine surprise to me. Because they wanted to unveil this new title at the peak of the excitement, they did it at the end of the opening weekend, which meant it probably spoiled it for a lot of people, which is a real shame. But either way, I find it fascinating because I cannot think of any other movie that could release new promotional material with a new title that soon after the movie comes out and have it not confuse audiences. And even though it's easy to criticize these big budget movies, I do enjoy it whenever they do things like this that only they are capable of doing. It's fun, and it's nice seeing the cultural discussion around it. If you've seen Thunderbolts, let me know what you think of the new posters, the new title in the comments below, and if you want to make sure that you don't miss anything coming up on the channel, make sure to subscribe.